Chiefs Kingdom, welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. My name is Jackson Durham, and on today's episode, we are going to be discussing the Chiefs' path back into the playoffs after our critical win in Week 12 against the Indianapolis Colts. I've said it before, I think that win was the first step in getting our season back on track, the first step in saving the season. And if you're right there with me, if you still think the Chiefs can make the playoffs, if you've still got the faith, like today's video. Get down there and drop a like on it if you still think Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the boys are going to get this one figured out over the final 6 games. But we have got a lot on the agenda today for you guys. We are going to go through the AFC West standings, starting with the Denver Broncos at the top at 9-2. Chargers coming in behind them at 7-4, one game ahead of us, and then us at 6-5, 2-9. The Raiders pretty well out of this thing. But honestly, guys, I'm not going to lie to you, and I've said this before, our path to the playoffs is not through winning the AFC West. If you look at these odds, they continue to shift towards the Broncos. I built this graphic from an old one that I had just 2 weeks ago, and the Broncos had a 55% chance to win the playoffs, to win the division. We had a 20% down to 13. Not going in the right direction. So I've said it before. I'll say it again. We are focused on the wild card at this point. That is our path into the postseason as of right now. And you look at the AFC, it's a very competitive wild card race. You look at these teams, Chargers and Jags and the Bills are all 7-4. It is not going to be a year where you've got 7 and 10 teams sneaking into the playoffs in the AFC. It just, except for maybe the AFC North Division winner. Who knows what's going to happen there? But in the wild card, if we want to get in, we have got to be clean over the last couple weeks. Our odds, we talked about this coming into this game in our last version of this video last week, 57% chance from the New York Times, 55% chance from ESPN's FPI, and 54% from NFL's Next Gen Stats. This week, after the win over the Colts, most of those are up. I'm not going to lie to you guys, though. Next Gen actually docked us off the win. A couple other things happened in the AFC that hurt us a little bit. The Jags getting a win over the Cardinals. But New York Times now has us at 61. FPI has us at 62.9. And Next Gen has us at a coin flips odds of 50%. But a nice jump from the Times and a nice jump from FPI. Some true believers over there, in my opinion. But we are going to go through how we can rise those playoff odds even more in just a minute. But if I think about things that are rising to the top, like the Kansas City Chiefs are rising to the top in the back half of this season, I think about Omaha Steaks. And guys, the holidays are right around the corner. You've got to be thinking about gifts for the family. You've got to be thinking about entertaining the family when they do come in town. And the best way to knock out both of those in one go, to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say, is Omaha Steaks. They offer unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. I absolutely love this stuff, guys. Order it all the time, whether it's the holidays or not for the family. Me and my fiance are huge fans of their burgers, of their steaks. It's just delicious. And right now is the perfect time to save on delicious gifts and holiday hosting favorites. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. And guys, I've got an exclusive deal just for our Chiefs Report viewers. I came through for you guys. The Kingdom is going to get an extra $35 off with promo code Chiefs at checkout. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during the Cyber Sale. And for an extra $35 off, like I mentioned, use promo code Chiefs at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code Chiefs at checkout. Terms do apply. See site for details. Link is in the description and the pinned comment to go check out Omaha Steaks. And if you do, remember to use promo code Chiefs. Huge for the channel. Really helps us out. But again, I promised you guys a perfect Week 13 plan. And here's what it looks like. Beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. That's what it starts with. We want to give thanks for a win over Dallas. Come into their place, take them out. After that, we get to sit back on the couch on Sunday, enjoy the nice long weekend, and enjoy, hopefully, a couple things in the AFC going our way. We need the Raiders to beat the Chargers. Is that likely? No, it's not likely. We know how bad the Raiders are. We just played them a couple weeks ago. Kicked the snot out of them. We'll do it again right before Christmas. But maybe they've got one in them. Maybe Geno Smith and Pete Carroll are sick and tired of hearing how bad they are from the rest of the nation, and they finally figure one out against LA. We can hope, right? Titans against the Jags. Again, we're rooting against the Jags pretty much the rest of the way this year. Chargers, Jags, and Bills. We already hate the Bills and we already hate the Chargers, but add the Jags to the list, guys. We need all three of those teams to lose as many games as possible for us to really get back in this thing quickly. And lastly, just beat them last week, but we're Colts fans this week. We're going to play the Texans in Week 13, but really helpful if they were already behind us in the AFC standings. We can make that happen with a Colts win this week and with a win of our own over the Dallas Cowboys. So let's check out how all of these outcomes could potentially affect our playoff odds. Let's just say we just get the win over Dallas. Forget everything else for a minute. Just beat Dallas, 72% chance to make the postseason. Again, that's an 11% rise. This is all by the New York Times playoff machine. 11% rise from what we're currently sitting at if you just get that win. If you get all the preferred outcomes that I've mentioned, which again, not going to lie to you guys, not very likely, 82% chance to make the playoffs. And you'd be somewhere in between, like 75, 74, if you get like 3 of those 5 preferred outcomes. So again, I'll say this. The pressure is lower. The win last week was enormous. If you didn't win last week, we'd be backed into a corner right now. We'd be staring down must-win games the whole rest of the way. But we got a critical one over Indianapolis. So now, it's not that we can take the foot off the accelerator. That's not what I'm saying at all, because losing still hurts, but you do have a little breathing room. With a loss to the Cowboys in Week 13, your playoff odds sink down to just 47%, which, hey, I don't like those odds any more than you guys do, but that's still just about a coin flip. You're absolutely not out of this thing if you lose. Again, AFC is extremely competitive, but a lot of these teams are going to take pot shots at each other along the way. Somebody's got to go down. So you can stay in it even with a loss. And let's talk about the final 5 weeks of the season, because we've got shots at a couple of these teams as well. Week 14, Texans. Enormous game at our place against Houston, guys. Week 15 is another huge one. These two teams right here are teams we're going to compete with for wildcard spots. Having a head-to-head advantage over them, if it comes down to a tie, is going to be huge. You do not want to be sitting at home in the postseason because you lost in Week 14 to Houston. That would suck. You know what I mean? Absolute must-win games right here. And hey, guess who comes after that? Tennessee. No freebies in the NFL. I'm not saying these are freebies, Tennessee and Vegas, but they're about as close as it gets, gang. They're about as close as it gets. Beat the snot out of the Raiders. No other nice words I can use for that. Back in Week 7, Tennessee, I've heard mumblings around the NFL that there is expectations that they do not win another game. Don't think they beat us. I think we can mark hey, I'm not going to say it. Those are 2 games we feel really good about. That's where I'll leave it. I'm not going to jinx us. But 2 you feel really good about in your final 5. But again, let's go back to what I talked about last week. The brick-by-brick mindset. 74% chance you get this Week 13 win. I should actually say 72% chance, excuse me. Goes up to 84% chance you win in Week 14. Week 15 jumps another 10%, 94%. Week 16, you get the win against Tennessee, 96% chance. I can't emphasize it enough. You win out over these 4 games, it's all over. You don't have to think about much anymore. Beat the Raiders in Week 17, rest the starters in Week 18, we're locked up. We are locked up. It's as easy as that. It really is. In all 4 of these games, does anybody out there feel like we can't beat the Cowboys? Does anybody out there feel like we can't beat the Texans? Does anybody out there feel like we can't beat the Chargers? And I know, I better not hear anybody thinking that we can't beat the Titans. But let's say one of those teams trips us up. How would it look for our playoff odds if we were to go 3-1 over that stretch of 4 games? Still pretty darn good. Not going to lie. 79% chance if the loss comes in week 13. 68% chance if it comes in week 14. Another 68% chance if it comes in week 15. And 78 if it comes in week 16. So you've got flexibility. Wouldn't say a ton of flexibility, but some degree of flexibility, especially in weeks 13 and week 16. That's where your most wiggle room is, guys. That's where if you're going to lose a game, make it happen then. And I know, I don't want to lose a game. I don't want to see them lose to Dallas. I don't want to see them lose to Tennessee. But if you got to go down, this is the NFL, guys. It's hard to win games in this league, even against the bad teams. It's going to be tough for the Kansas City Chiefs to go 6-0 over their final. I'd love to see it. I know we're perfectly capable of it, but it's tough. This is a hard league. We've seen that this year. We've struggled in one-score games especially. But all 4 of these in particular are 100% winnable. So we're the final 2 against Vegas and Denver. And we can get right back in this thing. We absolutely can. And speaking of beating Dallas, we have got a big preview for you guys coming up. And before we get into it, I want to hear your initial predictions. If you want the Chiefs to win, if you think the Chiefs are going to win, like today's video. If you're going with the Cowboys, think the Cowboys are going to win, let me know in the comments why. I need you to explain yourself because I can't see a way in which Dallas gets this one done. And I'm going to tell you guys all about why in tomorrow's video. Right before the game starts in the morning, we're going to have our keys to victory, my prediction for how it's going to go, and the last injury report for the game. So hit that subscribe button. Don't miss it, and we'll see you guys then. Let's go Chiefs.